Picture a house steeped in silence, where the ticking of a clock feels louder than your own heartbeat. It's the kind of quiet that swallows you whole, dragging up memories you've buried deep until a single moment, a fleeting touch, sets your world ablaze with emotions you never dared to feel. My name is Margaret Ellison, Maggie to those who know me, and this is the story of how one sleepless night unraveled everything I thought I understood about love, loss, and the lines we swear we'll never cross. Buckle up, because this tale of whispers in the dark and forbidden sparks will pull you in and won't let go. It was a chilly November night in my Portland bungalow, the kind where the fog clings to the streets like a ghost. I was 62, a widow who'd learned to live with the ache of absence since my husband, Tom, slipped away 8 years ago, a heart attack that stole him mid-laugh, mid-dream, mid-everything. Our plans for a cabin by the coast, our late-night talks, all gone in a blink. The loneliness had become my shadow, heavier lately, pressing against my ribs. That night, I tossed in bed, the sheets tangling like my thoughts, until I gave up and shuffled to the kitchen for water, my bare feet cold on the hardwood. "Wanna watch with me?" He gestured to the couch, his tone casual but tinged with something fragile, like he was reaching for a lifeline. "It's distracting." I hesitated. The sensible thing was to grab my water and retreat to bed. But the loneliness gnawed at me, a hunger for connection, for anything to fill the void. "Sure," I said, forcing a smile. "Why not?" I settled on the far end of the couch, the cushions sinking under me, the scent of whiskey and Ryan's cedar cologne mixing in the air. The movie played on, lovers confessing undying devotion, but my focus drifted. Ryan's presence was a quiet force, his knee inches from mine, his breathing steady but loud in the stillness. The screen's glow cast shadows across his face, highlighting the stubble on his jaw, the weight of his grief. I wanted to say something comforting, to bridge the gap between us, but words felt clumsy. Instead, I shifted, and my arm brushed his, a fleeting, accidental touch that sent a jolt through me. Sharp and uninvited, I pulled back, heat rising to my cheeks. "Sorry," I mumbled, eyes darting to the floor. "It's okay," Ryan said softly, his voice a low rumble. He didn't move, but I felt his gaze, brief but piercing, like he'd seen something in me I hadn't meant to show. The space between us shrank, not physically but in some unspoken way, and the movie's romance felt like a cruel mirror to the tension coiling inside me. I tried to focus on the screen, but my mind replayed the touch, the warmth of his arm, the way it stirred something dormant, something I hadn't felt since Tom. Guilt clawed at me. Ryan was family, David's son, not some stranger in a bar. But the loneliness, that relentless beast, whispered, "You're not dead yet, Maggie. You're allowed to feel." I pushed it down, but the thought lingered, a spark in dry grass. As the movie droned on, Ryan shifted closer, just enough to make the couch feel smaller. "This stuff's cheesy," he said, nodding at the TV, a half smile breaking through his gloom. "But it's better than thinking." I laughed, a shaky sound. Sometimes cheesy's what we need. Our eyes met, and for a moment, the world was just us, two broken souls, sharing a couch, chasing distraction. But the air crackled, and I wondered if he felt it too, or if I was imagining the pull, the danger lurking in the quiet. When the credits rolled, I stood, my legs unsteady. "I should get some rest," I said, avoiding his gaze. But as I turned, Ryan's voice followed me, soft and hesitant. "Maggie, thanks for letting me stay. Means more than you know." I nodded, my throat tight. "Anytime, Ryan." I fled to my room, the spark still burning, threatening to ignite something I wasn't ready to face. The echo of Ryan's words, "Thanks, Maggie, means more than you know," followed me into my bedroom, a whisper that refused to fade. I shut the door, my Portland bungalow settling into a heavy silence, broken only by the distant hum of the city outside. The air felt thick, charged with the memory of that accidental touch on the couch, the way Ryan's gaze had lingered just a heartbeat too long. I sank onto the bed, my flannel robe still wrapped tight, but it couldn't shield me from the storm brewing inside. I was Maggie Ellison, 62, a widow who'd buried her heart with Tom 8 years ago. So why was my pulse racing for my nephew, David's son, a man drowning in his own grief? Sleep was a cruel tease, slipping through my fingers like sand. By 3 a.m., I was staring at the ceiling, replaying the night, the TV's flicker, the scent of Ryan's cedar cologne, the jolt when our arms brushed. Guilt gnawed at me, sharp and relentless. He was family, not some fleeting fantasy, but the loneliness that had haunted me since Tom's death whispered back, coaxing me to feel the spark, to lean into the warmth of someone seeing me, really seeing me, after years of being invisible. I shoved the thought away, but it clung like damp fog. Morning crept in, gray and heavy, the Portland sky a canvas of clouds. I dragged myself to the kitchen, craving coffee to anchor me. The living room was empty, Ryan's whiskey glass still on the coffee table, a silent reminder of last night. I was rinsing it when my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan, couldn't sleep. Went for a walk. Back soon. My stomach twisted. Why was he texting me at dawn? I typed a quick okay. Stay safe and hit send. But the unease lingered, a knot I couldn't untie. I needed distraction, something to ground me. The old upright piano in the corner called, its worn keys a lifeline to the life I'd shared with Tom. I sat, my fingers trembling as they found the opening notes of a Chopin nocturne. The melody soft and mournful, wrapping me in memories of evenings when Tom would listen, his smile brighter than the music. The notes flowed, each one a tether to sanity, until a creak at the front door snapped me back. Ryan stood there, his jacket damp with morning mist, his hazel eyes locking onto mine. Didn't mean to interrupt, he said, his voice low, almost reverent. That was beautiful, Maggie. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keys. Thanks, I managed, my throat tight, just clearing my head. His presence filled the room, not just physically but in a way that made the air feel alive. Electric. He stepped closer, shedding his jacket, and I noticed the tension in his shoulders, the weight of his broken marriage etched into his frame. Today's my birthday, he said suddenly, a half-smile tugging at his lips. 39. Feels like a lifetime. I blinked, caught off guard. Happy birthday, Ryan. The words felt inadequate, but his smile widened, softening the shadows in his eyes. An idea sparked, a way to shift the mood, to reclaim normalcy. We should celebrate. Nothing big, just dinner. Maybe some wine. You deserve a good day. His eyebrows lifted, surprise flickering across his face. You sure? I don't want to be a burden. You're not, I said, too quickly, my heart betraying me with a flutter. It'll be fun. I stood, brushing past him to the kitchen, needing distance from the warmth in his gaze. But as I rummaged for a cookbook, I felt him watching, the silence between us heavy with unspoken questions. That evening, the bungalow glowed with candlelight, the scent of roasted garlic and merlot filling the air. I'd cooked a simple pasta dish, and Ryan had insisted on helping, chopping vegetables with a quiet focus that made the kitchen feel smaller. We sat at the dining table, the clink of glasses and soft jazz from the stereo creating a fragile illusion of ease. But every glance, every brush of his hand as he passed the bread, sent a current through me, dangerous and undeniable. You're good at this, Ryan said, gesturing to the meal, his voice warm, making things feel normal. I haven't had that in a while. I smiled, sipping my wine to hide the tremor in my hands. Normal's overrated, but I try. Our eyes met, and for a moment, the world narrowed, just us. The candlelight, the music. Then he leaned forward, his expression shifting, like he was weighing a risk. Maggie, last night, when we were watching that movie, it felt different, like I wasn't just crashing here, like I belonged. His voice was soft, but the words landed like stones, rippling through the calm. I set my glass down, my pulse racing. Ryan, you're welcome here, you know that. But, I trailed off, the weight of what he wasn't saying pressing against me. He was family, David's son, not someone I could let myself feel this way about. Yet the loneliness, the years of empty nights, screamed for me to lean in, to chase the connection. He reached across the table, his fingers grazing mine, deliberate this time. I know it's messed up, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. But I feel something when I'm with you. Don't you? My breath caught, his touch a spark that threatened to ignite everything I'd been holding back. I pulled my hand away, standing abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor. Ryan, we can't. I said, my voice shaking. You're hurting. I'm not myself. This isn't right. He stood too, his eyes searching mine, raw and unguarded. I know it's wrong, Maggie. I've been telling myself that since I got here. But it's real, and I can't shake it. The room spun, the jazz fading to a distant hum. I wanted to scream, to send him away, but a part of me, the part that had been alone too long, wanted to step closer. To see where this fire led. Instead, I turned, fleeing to the kitchen, my heart pounding like a drum in the dark. The kitchen tiles were cold under my feet as I gripped the counter. Ryan's words ringing in my ears. I know it's wrong, Maggie, but it's real, and I can't shake it. The Portland night pressed against the windows. A fog so thick it seemed to seep into my bones, mirroring the confusion clouding my heart. I was Maggie Ellison, 62. A widow who'd built walls around her grief since Tom's death 8 years ago. Yet here I was, trembling in my own home, caught in a dangerous pull toward Ryan Whitaker, my nephew, my brother David's son, a man whose pain had ignited something forbidden in us both. The jazz from the dining room faded, leaving only the thud of my pulse and the truth I couldn't outrun. We'd crossed a line, and there was no going back. I turned, expecting Ryan to follow, but he stood frozen in the dining room, candlelight flickering across his face. His hazel eyes held a storm, desperation, guilt, and something softer, something that made my chest ache. Maggie, he said, his voice breaking, I didn't mean to mess this up. You're the only thing keeping me sane right now. His honesty cut deep, but I held up a hand, steadying myself. Ryan, we're both hurting. You lost your marriage, I lost Tom, but this, I gestured between us. The air heavy with unspoken desire. This isn't the answer. It's a mistake. He stepped closer, the floor creaking, his hands clenched at his sides. A mistake? Maybe, but when I'm with you, I don't feel like I'm drowning. Don't you feel it too? I did. God help me, I did. The warmth of his presence. The way he saw me, not as the widow, the aunt, but as Maggie, had woken something I'd buried with Tom. But that truth was a trap. One that could shatter our family. What I feel doesn't matter, I said, my voice trembling. Your family, Ryan. We can't let this go further. He looked away, jaw tight, and for a moment, I thought he'd argue, but he nodded, a slow, pained motion, and backed toward the door. I'll go, he whispered. I'm sorry. The front door clicked shut, and the silence swallowed me, leaving a hollow ache where his warmth had been. Sleep eluded me again. By dawn, I was a wreck, pacing the bungalow, the scent of last night's garlic and Merlot lingering like a ghost. My phone buzzed, a voicemail from David, his voice sharp with worry. Maggie. Ryan was in a minor crash last night. He's fine, just a fender bender, but he's at St. Vincent's. Can you check on him? My heart lurched, the coffee mug slipping from my hands and shattering on the floor. I grabbed my coat and drove through Portland's drizzle, the city a blur of wet streets and guilt. At St. Vincent's, I found Ryan in a curtained herb, a bandage on his temple, his arm bruised but not broken. He looked up, his eyes tired but alive, and relief flooded me. Maggie, he said, managing a weak smile, didn't mean to scare you. What happened? I asked, pulling a chair close, my hands clasped to hide their trembling. Lost focus, he said, wincing as he shifted, thinking about everything. After I left, his gaze met mine, raw and unguarded, and I knew he meant us. The line we'd towed. I exhaled, the hospital's sterile scent grounding me. Ryan, we need to talk about last night. Not here, but soon. What we're feeling, it's not real. It's grief, loneliness, not what you think. He nodded, his expression a mix of shame and resolve. I know, I've been running from my mess, and I dragged you into it. I'm sorry, Maggie. Don't be sorry, I said softly. Just get help. Talk to someone, a therapist. Anyone. You're stronger than this, Ryan. We both are. He looked at his hands, fingers twisting the edge of the hospital blanket. I'll try. For me, not just you. His voice was quiet, but there was a flicker of determination, a spark I hadn't seen before. A nurse ushered me out, citing visiting hours, but as I left, I squeezed Ryan's hand, a silent promise we'd find our way back to family. Driving home, The rain on my windshield blurred my vision. Or maybe it was tears. I'd done the right thing. But the ache remained. A reminder of how close we'd come to ruin. Days later, a small package appeared on my doorstep. Wrapped in plain brown paper. My name scrawled in Ryan's handwriting. My stomach knotted, but I opened it, finding a leather-bound journal. Inside, Ryan had written, "Maggie, I'm seeing a counselor. It's tough, but it's helping. I wrote this to sort out what I felt. To let go. You don't have to read it. But I owe you the truth." The pages were raw, tracing his grief over his wife's betrayal, his confusion over me, and his realization that what he felt was a desperate grasp for connection. Not love. A single photo slipped out, a candid from a family picnic years ago. Me laughing with Tom, Ryan in the background, a kid with a lopsided grin. His note read, "This is who we are. Family. Thanks for reminding me." I closed the journal, tears spilling over. It wasn't a grand gesture. But it was honest. A step toward healing. I texted him, "Got it. Keep going, Ryan. We're okay." His reply was brief, "Thanks, Maggie, I will." Months passed, and Ryan stayed true to his word. He moved to a new apartment, threw himself into therapy and his job at a carpentry shop. At David's 4th of July barbecue, we saw each other for the first time since the hospital. He told a bad joke about grilled burgers, and I laughed, the sound free and easy. There was no tension, just the comfort of family, reclaimed through hard truths and time. Looking back, I see how fragile our bond was, how easily loneliness could have broken it. But we chose honesty, drawing a line that saved us. Ryan found his footing, not because I fixed him, but because he faced himself. In me, I learned to carry my grief without letting it lead me astray. Our family endured, not perfect, but real, forged in the fire of a mistake we refused to let define us. Join this channel and activate notifications. Thank you.